Welcome to our statistics course. I'm going to give you a quick tour to see how to navigate this course in Canvas. And then we're also going to take a look at the XYZ homework system, which is where you're going to be completing the majority of your homework. So let's start on the home page. This might look a little bit different from yours because this is the master course from the instructor point of view. However, it should be similar enough that you'll be able to follow along without any kind of a problem. You don't see it here, but when we start posting announcements at the top of this page here, you're always going to see the most recent 3 announcements. I use announcements to share updates, important reminders, any changes about the schedule, anything like that that's important that I need to get out to you guys. So make sure that you read those when you see new ones pop up. Now, you can always view all past announcements if you click on this announcements tab over here. It's just the most recent 3 that's going to come up at the top. Now, moving on to contact information, I haven't filled it in here yet, or maybe whoever your teacher is hasn't filled it in yet here. But this is where the contact information is going to be seen. For me personally, I prefer to use the Canvas inbox because my regular Outlook email with the Rogues email gets buried in all kinds of junk and administration emails and stuff from publishers. And sometimes the student emails can get buried in there and I don't see it as quickly as I should. But Canvas inbox is a student only messaging system so that I see your message right away. It doesn't get buried in other stuff. So it's the most efficient way and the quickest way to get in touch with me. And that inbox, if you're not familiar with it, this is the inbox icon right here where my cursor is. All right, so once you're ready to get started in the course, you want to click here, and that will bring you to the introductory module where you read through all the beginning information of the course to give you information about the policies and expectations and those kinds of things. Make sure you read through that information carefully because it's important. Now, if you need any technical support, we have our Rogues technical support. That's in this column here. If you have anything Rogues related, like your STARS account or Canvas or DegreeWorks, anything like that, you want to call Rogues Help Desk. If you need help with XYZ, then the right-hand column will be the information that you will want to use to contact someone for help. I want to point out that this company is based in California. So when you look at their hours of operation, it says Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but that PT is Pacific time. So make sure you are aware that that's not our time zone and you'll have to do a little bit of a shift. All right, now let's look at the weekly agendas. So you can get to the modules by clicking on this link here or at the Start Here button on the home page. Here is the introductory module where you'll go read through most of this material, complete the orientation. This is where we have our weekly list of assignments. Now, I set up these weekly agendas as non-graded discussion forums. So that way, once you read the information, if you have a question, you can use the reply to ask a question about the homework or something in that weekly agenda. So for each weekly agenda, I have kind of an introductory about what we're going to do that week. And then the list of assignments here. The first week always seems a little bit overwhelming because you've got the introductory assignments. And then we've got, for this class, we have a bunch of vocabulary assignments. It looks like a lot, but it's not as bad as it looks. All of chapter 1 is just basically reading through and getting familiar with the vocabulary that you're going to use throughout the course. Then at the bottom, sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. Additional resources, reference pages, extra practice, things like that that aren't graded, but I put in there because you might find it useful. If you do need to post a question, you just hit this reply. You can post the question and then I will answer you, or maybe even a student, another student in the class that might know the answer will reply to you. But this is a great way that we can stay in communication and help each other. Now, the last thing I want to show you are the grades. Okay, so I'm in student mode. So this is what you're going to see. When you want to keep track of your grades, we're going to have two grade books. The XYZ grade book, where it's going to show your points that you get on your assignments or your quizzes or anything that you do in there. However, we're not using the XYZ as our final grade book or as our final grade. It is not going to be set up with category weights like that. So you want to make sure if you want to look at your updated grade that you're looking at Canvas gradebook. Okay, so when you click on grades, you'll see a list of your assignments. Whatever's been completed, you'll have the score over here. Notice that we have an XYZ homework average. This is where we're going to put in your homework average at the end of the semester. As we take the tests and as you complete case studies and things like that, we will put these grades in here. But for the homework, we're just going to use the average homework from XYZ. Now, if you want to see what your current grade is in the class, but you can't see your grade because it's not in there because it's not the end of the semester, you can actually use the what if grades to put that in for yourself. So let's assume that you have a current average of 80% in your XYZ homework course, and you want to see if I have an 80% in my homework, what is my overall grade? You can actually click, put in the score of 80%, hit enter, and you can see how it adjusts your overall grade in the class. Once you exit the grade page, that will disappear like it never happened. It's like just a temporary grade so that you can see how you're doing in the course. All the other grades will be entered as you take them, but the average homework grade from XYZ will be put in only at the end of the semester. All right, so with that, let's take a look at the XYZ course. Here are a list of your assignments. They're listed by week, and you can obviously see that you can expand or collapse the weeks. You just click on the link. Here, normally it would say start if this is the first time you're doing it. This is what it would look like. Hit start. When you first log in, you'll see just directions, your learning objectives, any kind of reference sheets you might need. And then you'll see down here at the bottom our GeoGebra calculator. This is what we're going to be using throughout the class. There are two ways to open the GeoGebra calculator. This icon right here is for like a floating window, and you can adjust the size if you'd like. If you have bad eyesight like I do and you want to see it a lot bigger, you can completely open it in a whole new window by clicking this box here with the arrow. When you're ready to start, you can access the first question by clicking this button down here where it says first question, or you can scan through and look at any question using these drop-down menus. So let's say I want to work on question 3. So you work on the question. You have an unlimited number of times that you can attempt these questions. So if you're willing to put the time into it, you can get 100% on every single assignment. What will happen is you'll get, if I remember correctly, 3 chances for each version. If you run out of chances, then it will just ask you to choose a similar question, and then it jumbles the numbers and you get a different version. And then you can try it again. So you can do that an unlimited number of times. At the bottom, we have some possible help links. You'll see at the bottom of the problem things like this one, message your instructor. That's going to be at the bottom of every single question with the exception of like quizzes and tests. But then you have like view an example, or you might have a video example that you can watch that's similar. And those help links will be down here. You also have an add work button. This is not required unless your instructor wants you to show work for a test or a quiz. This is not required for just on practice, but you can use it if you want to make notes for yourself. It will save in the homework for you. If you're really stuck and you're getting frustrated, one nice feature is you can go to Jump to Answer. And what will happen, whoops, let me shut that, hide work. It will give you the answer key. You'll get this little key symbol. You can look at it, figure out what you did wrong. A lot of times it helps students to see the answer and then work backwards to figure it out. Or maybe it's just a format. You didn't realize it needed to be in fraction form. However, if you do the jump to answer, you're going to have to choose get a similar question and redo a different version of it so that you can get credit for that question. When you message the instructor, if you use that tool, it actually sends me the exact copy of whatever it is that you're working on. So the copy of the question will be below, and then you can write your question up here and it will be sent to me in emails. So you might send, I'm really stuck on part B. I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Here's what I've done so far. And I can see what you're doing and give you some feedback. Most of the time, I can give you explanations through email if you send me your work or explain to me what you're doing. On occasion, it might be a little bit too complicated to explain through messages, so then I would ask to set up a Zoom meeting with you and walk through the question with you that way. So on every single question, with the exception of like quizzes and tests, you'll have the message my instructor, and then there are other resources that you'll see pop up as in view example or video that you can use as well. The last thing I want to show you is the grade book. That is going to show you a list of all of your assignments along with the grades for anything that you've completed so far. There may be some drop down menus in there where you can sort it by date and things like that. There might also be a drop down menu that says show only the assignments that have been completed. So that way it's not counting in your average all the zeros of the things that you have not completed. And then you can look at your homework average, and that's what you can use to put into your what if grades on Canvas to see what your current grade is in the course. So that's all that I can think of for now that's important to get you guys started. Please explore that introduction module in Canvas because that's where all the important information is going to be about the course to get you guys started. And then let me know if you have any questions. Message me through the Canvas inbox. And I look forward to getting to know you, and happy first day.